Do you really know what the ego actually is? The ego is not just a psychological concept. It is the lens through which we perceive our entire existence.
Welcome to our channel. Here we dive deep into the human experience, offering insights and resources to help you build a better life.
The ego is often misconstrued as simply the source of all arrogance or self-centeredness. In reality, it's a fundamental part of our identity and even reality, influencing how we see ourselves and interact with others. Failing to acknowledge and understand the ego's role can lead to disastrous consequences, conflict, and negative growth. All of us have an ego. The trick is to become aware of it and use it for good. In this video, we're diving deep in order to explore the concept and nature of the ego and its impact on personal development and the mind. You'll learn to recognize the dual role of the ego, understand its influence on your actions, and discover methods for managing it. By understanding this video, you'll gain one of the most foundational insights about personal development and psychology. Once you fully understand the human ego, the rest of life starts to make lots of sense. Understanding the ego is a significant step in personal development, as it is deeply intertwined with our self-perception and perceptions of the world. The ego acts as the very core of our identity, bridging our internal feelings with our external presentations. Contrary to its controversial reputation, the ego is an intrinsic element of human psychology, influencing individual growth and societal dynamics. The ego mediates between our conscious thoughts and the external environment. It aids in self-awareness, allowing us to perceive interactions and form complicated responses. According to psychoanalytic theory from the father of psychotherapy, Sigmund Freud, the ego operates alongside the id and the superego to process internal and external demands. This balance creates continuity in behavior, linking our past experiences with present actions and future choices. While the ego manifests differently across cultures, its fundamental function remains the exact same. Cultural customs shape our expressions of self-identity. For example, in some cultures, personal achievements may be emphasized more, while others stress the importance of collective values. Despite these variations, the ego remains a universal foundation of human psychology. The ego operates very subtly. It is extremely sneaky and deceptive, often justifying actions and decisions through self-centered twisted reasoning. An overactive ego can lead people to protect their own self-image or prioritize personal interests, sometimes at the expense of broader societal harmony. Anything is fair game to the ego. The ego will do anything to survive and preserve itself. This function of the ego can result in dangerous conflicts on both individual and collective levels, illustrating the need to understand how the ego shapes greater societal issues and easily changes the individual person. The ego serves as both a unifying force for personal identity and a potential source of division. It reconciles our primal instincts with moral and ethical standards, the superego, which helps us navigate the complexities of social interactions. However, if left unchecked, the ego can grow a sense of entitlement, leading individuals to prioritize personal desires over communal well-being. This dynamic runs very, very deep and is heightened in competitive environments, where recognition and success are greatly valued. Recognizing our ego's dual role is essential for personal growth and understanding societal and psychological challenges. Awareness allows us to fight the ego's influences, assessing when self-interest becomes too detrimental to relationships and group dynamics. The implications of unchecked ego go well beyond personal interactions. Nothing is immune from the ego. From politics to corporate environments, ego-driven decisions exacerbate divisions and inhibit any potential cooperation. Acknowledging the powerful role of the ego is absolutely vital. Understanding and managing all the ego-related dynamics can greatly improve your understanding and application of personal development, and can contribute to solving problems you never thought were possible. While this exploration of the ego may seem daunting, please don't get overwhelmed. The ego is not all bad. The ego can be used for positive growth and to help others. By building up your awareness and examining all the various intricacies of the ego, you can navigate through personal problems and conflicts much more effectively. Truly understanding the ego involves embracing its paradoxical nature, as the ego is a tool for self-identification and differentiation that also isolates and divides. Continued reflection and curiosity will enable you to harness the ego's positive aspects while mitigating its potential harms. By understanding the ego's influence on our perceptions and behaviors, we can see its role transform from one of division into a force for unity within ourselves and in every interaction with everybody. When we consider the ego, it is often associated with negative traits like arrogance or selfishness. However, we need to recognize that the ego also serves beneficial purposes. It plays a fundamental role in protecting our self-esteem and driving us toward personal achievements. The ego acts as a psychological buffer, maintaining a positive self-image that helps us navigate personal and professional attacks. For instance, healthy ego-driven confidence encourages us to pursue goals or take risks that may lead to innovation. By being aware of these positive aspects, we can leverage the ego as a growth tool rather than viewing it solely as an obstacle. The secret is to consciously take control of the ego and not allow it to overtake you completely, which leads me to awareness. Awareness of the ego is needed for any real effective management. When we recognize the staggering range of our ego's influence, we can begin to assess when it becomes overactive or misaligned with reality. An overactive ego can manifest defensively or lead to an impossible unwillingness to admit mistakes, ultimately halting personal relationships and professional or personal progress. Conscious awareness enables us to engage in a great deal of introspection, letting ourselves question whether our actions align with our core values and goals. A high sense of self-awareness like this leads to meaningful change, promoting a more authentic and fulfilled life. To manage the ego effectively, various techniques should be implemented. Mindfulness gives us the space to observe our thoughts without any judgment, helping us to recognize any ego-driven reactions and replace them with thoughtful, conscious responses. By looking inward at past experiences, we can learn from the ego's influence and start to adjust future actions. Practicing empathy and gratitude is a phenomenal way to keep the ego in check. Being humble and open is also good for balancing the ego. Humility lets us acknowledge our limitations and welcome constructive feedback, which can further build up our skills and strengthen connections. An open mindset lets us formulate new ideas and be open to new experiences, challenging preconceived notions influenced by the ego. As an example, talking with people from diverse backgrounds provides invaluable insights that challenge and grow one's worldview. This openness stimulates learning and is the foundation of growth and learning. Balancing the ego requires great conscious effort to mediate its positive and negative influences. While the ego can inspire ambition and resiliency, it can also easily lead to isolation and conflict if unchecked.